My next conversation will be with Tonjha Richardson. Stay tuned. Hey y'all, I'm Asante and this is Real Talk. And today I have the absolute honor and joy to be able to speak to my colleague and good friend, Tonjha Richardson. Tonjha, how you doing?
I wouldn't want to be anywhere but here.
Oh,
yeah,
I love that.
Really.
So, Tonjha, I've gotten to know you and it's been such a treat, but let's allow the membership to get to know you a little bit. Why don't you tell us something about your unique history in acting, as well as what brought you into the union and what really makes your place here so special? Because I've heard this and I love it.
Well, I became a member back in the 1980s. Don't do the math. So for many moons, but I took 15 years off to raise a wonderful baby boy who is now studying, being groomed for Alvin Ailey, and I'm so thrilled.
Doing big things.
Just a little big things.
Know?
You know, he's 6'6", but he's just... Yes, he's priceless, and I was a mom. And then I came back and I wanted to be of service. Initially, when I started, it was like artsy-fartsy, I just want to be a part of the union. And now I'm really understanding the hard work that comes behind it and the commitment and the action and the hard dedication it is to make change. And so the last 5 years I've been back, I've joined, I was a co-chair for TALK, Toronto ACTRA's Women and Gender Diverse Committee, co-chair for the Disability Alliance subcommittee. I am a facilitator, and please sign up and join Respect on Set. Yeah. So this is a mandatory workshop for new members, and I think it should be for maybe the old timers or someone like myself. Every time I facilitate, I learn more about myself and about this precarious world that in which we work in, and it gives those the tools to know what harassment looks like, discrimination, microaggressions, right? I think of those as little tidbits where you're kind of like, because our world in acting is precarious. We don't have a 9 to 5. We don't have HR down the hall, and it gives us. I share with the membership the tools and the resources to have a safe working environment.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah. So we are about to enter and actually are already somewhat engaged in some of the most important and unprecedented IPA negotiations that ACTRA's ever seen.
Yes.
And being on that team, and we thank you so much for that, by the way.
Thank you.
Can you talk us through a little bit? Let's start with the basics, okay? For the membership out there who might not be fully up to speed on exactly what this whole process looks like. First of all, I know I keep hearing this AIR acronym, AIR.
Yes.
Can you talk us through that a little bit?
Sure. I like it short and sweet and to the point. Keep it basic, keep it simple. So AIR stands for Artificial Intelligence and Accessibility.
Right.
We need more accessibility. AI is not our friend in terms of being in this industry. And we'll get into a deeper discussion there. I stands for inclusion and inflation.
Yes.
Inclusion is a huge subject that I feel so deeply about, creating an environment that is safe and welcoming for everyone, despite their gender, their sexual orientation, their disability. That is so important to me. And R stands for residuals and respect. Yeah. It seems basic, but it's not.
It's not, and I know that the issues are very complex. They run deep, but gosh, they are so very important. And it fills me with a great deal of hope and inspiration that these are the things that we're fighting for when it comes to these negotiations. Now, when it does come to these negotiations, exactly who are we bargaining with? And what is the timeline on that? I understand we negotiate every 3 years or so.
Every 3 years,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So this year it'll be 2 weeks in Montreal.
Okay.
Because Taylor Swift, she's in town.
Oh, well,
and
God forbid,
come on,
we should
that's right.
put a
No
kink in the
hating.
Eras tour, right?
And then a week in Toronto.
Okay.
And so what we're dealing with, we are, there's 3 entities. So the first is, and I have to look down at my handy notes,
Fine, yeah.
Canadian Media Productions Association. So that's dealing with the English producers.
Right.
And then the second would be ACMP, which is Association Québécois de la Production Médiatique, and that's based in Quebec. And then there is a third entity where they're not a signatory, but these are the big players, right?
Right.
These are the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers.
Okay. Okay.
And this is who we are up against.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you say up against it, are these, I guess, do we feel as if we are in opposition with these entities, or is there some way that we can frame it as, working towards a common goal or a better way forward?
Well, I'm always looking at the glass is half full. I'm an optimist.
Yes.
I really, really am.
Yes.
So I want to say we are all on the same page.
Mhm.
We all want good quality art.
Yeah.
The world needs it. We're living in precarious times,
sure
and
are.
we need this art form to really, better and educate
Yes.
and inspire our communities and society. So I'd like to say it's a coming together.
Okay.
But the things that maybe our members and the negotiating team, because we are the face of our membership,
Yes, we are.
is that we want equity. For example, hair and makeup. For those of us who have this beautiful kinky hair, I want to be able to come on sets, not be looked at sideways.
Yeah.
I want someone who is there, welcoming, knowing my kind of hair, the products. You don't come to this hair with a brush, if you know what I'm saying. That's trauma.
Yeah.
And I want people who are open. And I'm not saying that, I want just people who have textured hair to do that.
Right.
If you are, if this is your art form, I want you to be well-rounded and know,
Absolutely.
how
Absolutely.
to. So, because that can make or break
Oh, for sure.
what I've been longing to do and worked hard, because, we're going to talk about auditions, how we don't get paid for the setup. We come a long way to get in that hair and
Yes.
makeup chair.
Yeah. And then you don't want to be there and now feel like, once again, here's another barrier, or once again, here's another hurdle that I have to climb. And it's, and I thought I was already booked on the gig.
That's
And nope.
it.
And yet here comes another issue to face. So, all right. Well, let's talk about respect then. If that feels like a respect issue.
Yes.
Where do you feel that respect does exist on set currently, and where do you feel that we could go to improve the level of respect on set these days?
Well, I'm happy to report, because I've been in this industry for many moons, that there has been progress.
Good.
What I'm loving is the sound person. Back in the day, it was just like, we'd be in the green room, everyone moving. There's so many moving pieces, and time is of the essence. Today, I know, again, respect for myself. It's like introducing myself to the sound person, establishing a rapport. Can we go into, the green room or somewhere quiet, because it's quite intimate. My goal is the sound person school. We want to get the best quality, right? It takes a village. And I'm loving that that is what the sound person is doing automatically. There's no kind of awkwardness, kind of like first date things. It's, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm going to be whatever. This is where we need to be, and there's conversation. And so it's just like, it's effortless, and it's a smooth journey to get into that mark, to get into your mark.
Well, that's good. Okay. So that's what's working right now, and that's where some of the progress is happening. Where do we need to go?
Accessibility. I think the folks in the UK have got it going on. Every set, every production house, every casting director, casting office has accessibility. And we really need to have that. I've heard of a story where, one of our disabled performers got one day and the set was accessible, but then, luckily he got a second day, and unfortunately the next location was not accessible.
Okay.
This cannot happen.
Yeah.
We have to be clear and direct with the producers. It doesn't cost more to have accessible productions.
Well, for sure. And it shouldn't mean that, the disabled community should lose out
No.
on jobs, right? You know, that it really needs to be a more inclusive model.
And I can't
Right.
wait to the day when, you know, our disabled members are able to audition for
Yeah.
every role.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And so that's why I joined
Yeah.
as co-chair for the Disability and Alliance Subcommittee. I have invisible, disabilities.
Yeah.
And it's my superpower.
Mhm.
And but again, you know, those can be sort of put in the background. I really want accessibility for all
Yes,
roles.
of course.
All roles.
Yeah.
Everyone should have access to those. And as an actor who's transitioning to writing, I really find myself now open to that. Right?
Yes.
Why am I writing this as female or male or able, and just opening
right?
that,
You check in on, like you always like to say, you check in on your motives.
That's it.
Right? Like why am I actually writing this character? And
Yeah.
does it serve me to write them this way or that way? Or is it something that would work better if we kept it open?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, that's really cool. I love to hear about that transition. And it's something I think that's happening fairly much across the board.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's obviously a long way to go, but it is nice to see a little bit more of a broader approach when it comes to casting, when it comes to some of the writing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think both of us can relate to some of the roles that we played in our early careers that seemed a little bit, shall I say, stereotypical.
Yes.
Yeah.
We branched out from druggie number one, prostitute number two, to judges,
Yes.
to boss ladies.
There you go, right?
Right.
And I would have been playing that drug dealer across from you, right? And now
today.
it's
Not
you know,
today.
doctors, lawyers, you know, that kind of stuff, that's awesome.
But I have to tell you, being of a certain age with lived experience, I can't tell you how heartwarming it is to now be at this end where we're actually having these tough conversations, right?
Yeah.
About race. You
Yeah.
know, we're mixed race and about gender and sexual orientation. There's a learning curve, but I'm so glad that we can unlearn some of the things that we have learned, and start afresh and trust each other and agree to disagree.
Yeah.
So, as difficult as these conversations might be, I'm just thrilled to be part of this negotiating team. I might not be the smartest on the team, but I have passion, and I want everyone to know, all the members, is you are being represented all across the board, and we are representing you and your voice, and we can't do it without each other. And I think that that's what's going to build this union. And I'm so pumped, and I feel so blessed to be part of it.
That's amazing. Well, you fill me with inspiration and energy around that. That's so great. So, I think it might serve us to speak a little bit on the actor's lifestyle, some of the stuff that we might be bargaining towards that affects all actors across the board here. So, I'm talking about things like the unpaid hours that we put in, right? Which we know there are far too many of. I'm talking about, what is the average kind of life of an actor? I mean, we're not talking about, your A-listers, B-listers, C-listers even. I'm talking about the bulk of our membership.
Yes.
Right.
I have to admit I was pleasantly surprised, because the last time I had quoted sort of a non-actor, the average actor gets $7,000. But I'm happy to report that I got, inflation, it has increased to $12,000. But it's just, what I find the most challenging part. What I find the most challenging about being an actor is this staying grounded and sane in the meantime. Right? And what I have found to be so true is to check in and have a network of fellow actors. We speak the same language. We're not alone. Because I don't know about you, sometimes I feel lonely in this craft.
I've had many a lonely night.
Yes.
Yeah, you bet.
And to know that keeping our eyes on the prize, and I'm not good at math, but I know to be true, the more auditions that I don't get is the closer to getting them.
Oh, it's a beautiful perspective.
And
yeah.
I'm constantly forever changing. You know, I love this saying, nothing changes if nothing changes. And if you are growing in your artistry and, you know, and I've seen it coming back in the last 5 years, coming back fresh, actor roles, principal, and enlarged principal, is that you need to keep your craft well-oiled, right? There are resources. Check out ACTRA website. There are a lot of tools and resources, right? Get on those database. It's the work. I think this time around is I'm the actor who is hustling, because I have to admit, for many years I've been saying I'm a struggling actor. But let me tell you, being of service, getting out of my head, I am a striving one.
There you go. You got to change that narrative. And that's, I love this. I love this is something that I have been sharing with whoever will listen. But, you know, one of my little secret goals is to completely diminish the phrase starving artist.
Yes.
I think it is such a defeating attitude.
Yes.
You know, that's been around for far too long. And we in a sense, we've almost romanticized it as like, oh, I've got to starve first to be able to really. And that, listen, for someone who's actually starved, that is not fun. There's nothing romantic about that. And it's not worth, you know, just so that you can pursue your passion. You ought to be able to pursue your passion and your art and thrive and eat.
Yes. And this is what I share with the new members who are coming in to this Respect on Set. Jump on board. Because my first sort of phase with ACTRA, I'm just like, I'm an artsy fartsy. I just want to be free. And I knew nothing about the work and the blood, sweat, and tears that our current council and previous have to build a protective and safe working space that is so precarious and non-traditional.
Yeah.
And I'm just thrilled with the, you know, I call it the stinking thinking. You heard that, right? The narrative.
Of course.
And it's like our brain does know fact from fiction.
Right.
Do the work, which is rewriting that narrative. Because mine was back in the day, I am too much and not enough. And where that puts me in the world, personally and professionally, is in limbo. Because I'm going, okay, here I am. No. Find out what roles you want to play. Workshops are available, you know, the Toronto area and even online. It is so important to hone your craft.
Yes, it is.
Because let me tell you, AI is here.
Yeah. Hey.
It is taking a replica of us. It wants to scan our beings and put you in without compensation, without authorization, and put you in God knows where. Put you in another show unbeknownst to you. We're busy working on our craft. As we mentioned, we don't get paid a lot. The self-tape, we're here to stay. Right? How do we become more efficient and more productive in those self-tapes? I look forward to refining that because it's difficult. You know, I have a partner who is able to be there on a New York second.
Right.
I'm lucky. That's a luxury for me. What about having accessibility for all?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really, really important. But AI, we need to grab it. This is a huge priority. It is cloning singers, you know, voiceovers, it is taking over. And it's time. And that's one of our top priorities. And it should be for all members.
Absolutely. It has to be.
Yes.
All right. Because like you say, it's here. It's not going anywhere. And I think the best way forward is to find a way to use it as a tool. To supplement, to augment what we do, but certainly not as a replacement for what we do.
It.
All right.
Yes. Yeah.
So you mentioned something about self-tapes, and this is something I like to discuss always because there's such a broad range of perspectives on the self-tape. Some people love being in the room. Some people love the fact that they can be at home and do as many takes as they want.
Yes.
However, I think the one fact remains that with self-tapes, they're asking more and more of us. It is unpaid work. What do you see as the future that works maybe a little bit more in favor of actors when it comes to self-taping?
I have to tell you, I'm an introvert who's social. I discovered that in COVID. I think maybe a majority are.
Yeah.
I'm loving the self-tapes.
Yeah.
I'm loving the self-tapes. I'm loving that. But I'm in a different headspace,
Okay,
right? I'm
okay.
about the work.
Yeah.
So I have sort of a process, right? I find out, get a breakdown, look who's directing, the production company. Like, I am loving the work.
Nice.
Because I want to know the genre, the tone, right?
Yeah.
And I want to work smarter, not harder. And so I do the due diligence, find out previous shows, episodes, what the director did, and then really hone on taking that character infused with me. Like, for all my life, I thought, okay, so, do they, what do they want me to portray? Is this, this role or that role? Now I bring my true authentic self. And I do the homework. And so I think that we can find maybe a perfect place where it is the self-tape that ignites that, the interest, and having the recall.
Okay.
In person.
Okay.
Up close
okay.
in person.
Okay.
And we have that where we can have casting there. I realize that I love this.
Yes.
I'm still afraid, but because I'm doing the work, I am prepared.
You're coming prepared. Yes.
I'm prepared.
Yeah.
So in that throw me, I want the direction because I'm grounded. I accept the environment.
Yes.
It is on my side. They want me to win. They want you to win.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah, no, I love that. There was once I was given the phrase preparation meets opportunity.
Yes, sir.
And that's really what it comes down to, right? Is like when you're prepared, when you've done the work, you can then throw away the work and be present and take whatever direction is given and really just work in that collaborative space to make the best thing possible. And you're right, the fact is the other side of the table wants you to win just as bad as you do.
Yes, they do.
All that to be said. So what you just described, though, is a lot of work. Let's be fair about that, right?
Yes.
That's a lot of work. That took a lot of time to do. There is the radical opinion out there that we should be paid for that work.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Yes. I do believe, because the amount of countless hours, and again, some of us need to go to a self-tape recordings reader. Yeah. Again, I am so privileged, and I have all that. I've got my little corner in my apartment and a partner who is just like, yeah, I'll be there in 20 minutes. That's not accessible, and that's not fair for everyone. Yes, I think that we should be compensated. Okay. Gone are the days that, the artsy-fartsy, and I told you that that's how I'm just happy to be alive and be in this. No, we are entrepreneurs. We are brands. Yes. We are our own CEO of our own company, and that is us. And we have a responsibility to ourselves to be compensated.
That's right.
Yeah.
I agree. I love that. Yeah, we are the agents of our own destiny.
That's it.
And that warrants, the ability to also put a roof over our heads, put food in our bellies and clothes on our back while we pursue that.
And there's something to be said when with that compensation comes, I'm worth it.
It's any profession works this way. As they say, like, if you get good enough at something, don't do it for free.
Yeah. I don't know any other business that doesn't offer compensation.
Right.
So
yeah.
I think that this would be the solution. And
Oh, that's really great. Okay. Well, hey, maybe the right ears are listening right now.
Ringy dingy.
Right eyes are watching to make some strides in that direction. I guess, what I'd love to hear about is, we're going into bargaining. There's a lot of big topics, but I think, in a perfect world, what would you love to see come out of these rounds of negotiations for actors? As I say to some of my students, I say, if you have the right to write the end of the scene, well, if you have the right to write the end of that scene, how does it look?
Decent wages. We really are not compensated enough for our efforts, for our passion. We have tons of talent.
Yeah.
Decent wages, working conditions. Teaching respect on set. I hear horror stories, and I've been privy to, bearing witness to unhealthy, unsafe environments. Accessibility.
Yeah.
It is so important. It is so, so important now in this time in space. Those are very, very important. I like to see residuals.
Yes,
Right? When I
for
took
these,
15
from the
years off,
streamers.
I think there was some back in the day, and then it's whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to come, and we will come to the table direct, and we will come to the table with conviction.
Oh, I love that.
Right, because we have the passion.
Yeah.
This bargaining team, oh my gosh, again, it's just a wide range. This bargaining team is so well represented, and the passion that we have. And I am so honored to break bread and be a part of Trailblazers. And my hope is that the membership knows that, and they are represented at this table. And it will be a fight, and we are prepared. On behalf of our members.
That's amazing. Well, I tell you, I certainly feel like I'm in such great hands talking to you.
Oh, thank you.
And that we are being so well represented by real fighters. Yeah. Real passionate artists.
Yes.
Artists first, bargainers second, right? Which is so cool. But again, I just really want to tip my hat, and I think on behalf of the membership, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. It means the absolute world to us, and I am very excited to see what happens over the next few weeks, the next few months, and the direction that we can go as actors and ACTRA members. But Tonjha,
it's time.
Yeah,
it's time.
Right. It's time.
It's time to claim what's ours.
It is. It is.
Yes.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Always
for
such
the
a pleasure.
opportunity.
And yeah. Really, that's such a pleasure to be able to talk to you, and we respect so much what you do. Thank you so much for being real with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Real Talk. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and follow us on wherever you get your favorite podcast.